in peace for the second part of our quantum quest. All aboard the Starship QI we have, from a distant galaxy, Susan Calman. From another dimension, it's Joe Lycett. From a parallel universe, Holly Walsh. I don't know what planet he's from, Alien Davis. I'm just going to press the transporter thing again. That didn't quite work. I'll just do that. There we go. There he is, Alan Davis. Yeah. Their buzzers are highly illogical captains. Susan goes.
Oh, God, this is the sexiest night I've ever had in my life.
Joe goes.
Oh, yeah.
Holly goes. And Alan goes. Question 1.
Captain's log, stardate 96778.53. Anything can happen in the next half hour. Our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to boldly go to a galaxy far, far away and become the first Earthlings to reach another star.
So, my question is, shall we get going?
Yeah.
Yes! So, here's the thing. If we are heading into interstellar space, it is not necessarily true that the earlier you set off, the earlier you will get there.
Huh?
Why is that the case?
Oh.
Is it Southern Rail?
Is it because space-time is warps, basically? So the faster you go through space, then the time changes?
No. If you set off too early, the technology on Earth will advance while you've gone off, and you'll be overtaken by rivals who've left later, but in a faster spaceship.
Oh.
They could pick you up, though, couldn't they?
They could, I suppose that's the thing, yeah.
It's like splitting tickets to get from Glasgow to London, because if you think I'll go on the 7:30, but actually you're better to go on the 8 sometimes.
And leave it a bit later.
You don't have to change at Preston.
That's it, exactly. It's just like changing at Preston. It's exactly it. So the furthest spacecraft from Earth is Voyager 1. It was launched in 1977. 40 years later, Stephen Hawking proposed an interstellar craft which would theoretically use energy from the sun to reach enormous speeds and overtake Voyager in just a few months. So the ideal point that we should set off can be found using a really simple calculation called the weight calculation. I'm sure we've all jotted this down at some point. So our recommendation is don't set off on an interstellar mission if it's going to take more than 50 years to get there. So currently, space probes can travel around 50,000 miles per hour. So it is definitely worth setting off to visit somewhere that is less than 20 billion miles away. But the closest star, so not our sun, to Earth, Proxima Centauri, is about 25 trillion miles away. So probably not worth setting off to at the moment.
There's going to be a cut-off point as well, because you basically want to put a 3-year-old in a rocket, don't you? You don't want to put a 50-year-old in a rocket, because they'll be dead before that even gets...
No, because you would go into stasis. You would do it like in Alien, they've got the tubes. And you go to sleep in your pants, because they're always in their pants.
Yeah.
I don't know why they never wore pyjamas, but...
I guess because if you think about it, pyjamas that your parents wear aren't pyjamas you're going to wear. You know, like, fashion changes, you don't want to wake up...
What's timeless? Tartan pyjamas?
Yes.
So... tartan pyjamas, so when I then wake up in 50 years when I'm at this star that you refer to...
You look like Rupert the Bear.
The
first person to leave the solar system will almost certainly be a man called Clyde W. Tombaugh. He was the US astronomer who discovered Pluto. He died in 1997, and his ashes were placed inside the New Horizon probe. That was launched in 2006. He's already had a flyby Pluto, which is great because he discovered it. It happened in 2016, and his ashes are still travelling out towards the edge of the solar system.
That's sort of pollution, really, isn't it?
You think it's
Kind of littering.
You think so? Would you send your ashes up into space?
No.
Oh, I think it'd be marvellous.
I don't think you'd notice, Sandy. I mean, I don't know what you expect to happen when you are ashes, but I expect you can see and hear almost nothing.
There's a company in America that now offers to turn your ashes into glassware.
Yours would just be a shot glass.
Wow.
I think you should be made into a monocle.
I think it would be great. Rather than sending your ashes into space, they should just propel your dead body so that anyone suddenly, you're like, is that Sandy Toksvig floating past?
One of my friends had ashes of somebody turned into an egg timer.
That's a great idea.
I would have my ashes scattered in the petite section of Marks and Spencer's.
Anyway, old Clyde, who's up in space in this New Horizons probe, you can see that it's about the size of a grand piano. It's now in the Kuiper Belt, so it's in the outer reaches of the solar system. It's the furthest any spacecraft has gone. But basically, to get to the nearest star, it's going to take 72,000 years. So in space terms, despite the fact that they are all that distance from the Earth, 4 billion miles, it's effectively like we've just pulled the car out of the garage. Why is interstellar travel unlikely in the 21st century? What's the reason?
Well, is it because everyone would die before you'd get anywhere?
Yes, we'd never have the time. And also our best idea for rockets, which use nuclear fusion, would cause radiation enough to kill any human being.
The mutations might be quite interesting, though.
What mutations?
Well, if you take Spider-Man as an example.
Yes.
Of a real thing that happened and was hushed up by the government.
Yes.
That was the effect of radiation. I was once bitten on the left breast by a guinea pig. And I wondered for some time afterwards, it wasn't an irradiated guinea pig, I'll grant you, whether or not I would acquire the powers of a guinea pig.
You'd be somehow reduced in capability. Here's guinea pig girl.
What is the particular guinea pig skill?
Well, they eat their own faeces, is all I know.
But what you'd need immense speed in order to be able to get there. The real issue is we probably wouldn't be able to stop. So, because we'd be going so fast to Proxima Centauri, by the time we got there, there would not be the brakes in the world or in the universe that would slow us down.
In The Martian, didn't he stop himself with a fire extinguisher?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's say we arrive on a new planet and find an alien. What should we do?
Kill it. Well, that's what we do in the past, and it's worked all right for us, isn't it?
The truth is that NASA does not have an official plan.
Oh.
The man who is the head of the Mars Exploration Project, a man called Michael Mayer, presumes that they would tell the president. No idea how that's going to go.
Yeah, he's the person to tell.
Tell.
You stand in front of it and go, boop, boop, boop.
But basically said it's a long time since they visited the procedure. But the truth is NASA doesn't have a great track record in terms of uncovering alien life. So, 1976, the Viking lander picked up soil from the dried lake bed of Mars, and it roasted all the samples as part of the analysis process, and it concluded there was no evidence of life. Curiosity, so that's 40 years later in 2006, did the same experiment without incinerating everything, and it did find organic compounds, so that's one of the first signs that scientists will look to for pointing to possible aliens.
Yeah, but I wouldn't roast it. That seems quite full on to me.
Yeah.
I'd just saute it a bit. There's a little olive oil.
There's another reason not to do that. Because we don't know its capabilities. If we've learned anything from the history of documentaries about aliens. The common cold kills them.
Yes.
And that you
Or
have to be
high-pitched noises.
High-pitched noises, that'll do it as well.
But also, if you know anything about any creature like you might find in a house, like, say, an ant, they're never alone. Oh, yeah, you can only see one, but there are others. And you find a mouse. They don't live on their own, mice.
Don't say that. We had one mouse in our house that didn't... Oh, come on. Oh, no, don't say that. No,
But a family, little family.
No, no.
Andy, what did you do with the mouse?
I
Killed
a
it.
trail of cheese. A trail of cheese out the back door. And it went, I think.
Yeah, he went to get his friends and said, look, you've got to come to this cheese emporium.
Who believes that aliens have already visited Earth? Wow, straight up. OK. Anybody else believe it?
I think people who've been probed are correct.
Oh, well, if that's it, yes, definitely. Sorry, I didn't realise that.
The US government funded something called the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program in 2002 to investigate reports of UFOs. It was a $22 million program. It was closed down in 2007 because they ran out of money. So all we absolutely know for sure is that aliens did not visit between 2002 and 2007, provided, of course, the program was working properly.
As far as they know, I never saw NASA in Glasgow checking for aliens.
Right.
So what if the aliens have just gone where they're not? So that's not empirical proof they haven't. It's just that they weren't there when the aliens were there because they couldn't be bothered to come to Glasgow.
Right, moving on. When Apollo 11 first landed, NASA was worried it might sink. What did they think the moon was made of?
I am...
Yeah?
Oh, cheesy peeps, just say it.
What?
I was actually going to say, do you remember the Christopher Biggin show on Safari?
Yes.
And there was...
Such a niche reference. It's really...
At the end game, there was quicksand.
Yes.
Did they think... Shut up. Did they think it was made out of quicksand?
They did think it was made out of quicksand. He's absolutely right. Well done.
It wasn't.
No, but they did think it would swallow the lunar module whole, and that is why they had those great, flat, broad feet on the lunar module, because they did not know what the surface was going to be like.
I thought it was just so the furniture wouldn't mark the carpet.
In the 1960s, 1 in every 35 films featured quicksand.
Oh, yeah.
Who was Quicksand's agent? Because he was
Totally was doing well. So it comes from Middle English, it means living sand. Do you think it will kill you?
Is it actually
It
a
can.
thing? Like, is it... Does...
Yes, well,
can kill you.
quicksand is something you get off the UK coast, isn't it? It can be really dangerous.
It's not going to kill you, is the thing.
Yeah, but it does kill you.
No. So... So you're going to love this, Alan. We wanted to show how this works.
We're going to kill Alan!
Hang on a minute. I mean, for all the people who didn't applaud.
The British Geological Survey, very kindly, have done a short film about Alan and myself at the beach and seeing what would happen if quicksand developed. So here we are at the beach. And you can see the groundwater swelling up. And what happens is liquefaction. So all of the sand particles have drifted apart, making it a really mushy mixture. Basically, what happens is you get stuck in the quicksand.
see.
That's not what kills you. What kills you is that you're stuck in the sand. You haven't gone under, but the tide has come in, you haven't been able to get away. It's to do with viscosity and Newtonian properties. So what happens is it becomes so thick that it develops into non-Newtonian liquid. That means its thickness can change as you apply force to it. So quicksand is exactly like that. It is true that the more you struggle, the more difficult it is to get out, but your body is less dense than quicksand. You will just float. You're not going to be sucked under. And frankly, most quicksand is only a few feet deep. So you and I might go. The rest of the panel will be absolutely fine.
So what, you're just supposed to lie down and sort of float?
The don't panic is the main thing. I love the internet because it has so many niche corners in it. There is an online community of quicksand enthusiasts. They're called sinkers. And they enjoy the sensation of, I suppose it's literally an immersive experience.
Is it like a fetish?
No, well, it's hard
Yes.
to say, because there are whole forums devoted to this. It's like the TripAdvisor of sinkholes, and they rate them for the quality, the depth, the thickness, the available parking. Here is the worrying bit. Privacy. Why would you need to be entirely private in
Because it's a sexy thing.
Do you know what? I sort of get it, because I got for Christmas some of those jelly crystals that you put in. It makes the bath turn to sort of jelly, and I felt pretty saucy when I did it.
Did that not feel weird, like your subcutaneous fat was kind of dripping out of you? And you were...
I didn't think that
Yeah,
at all,
I know what
Susan.
you mean. What's that thing where they suck out all your fat?
Yeah, it's liposuction.
And then you have a bath in it.
What is wrong with you?
I cannot have a bath, because if I try and lie down in the bath, I go like that and I dry. It's not...
Oh, I'll lend you our baby seat. It's really good. It's like props you up like that. I had an argument. This is one of the first arguments that I ever won, and I felt such a huge feeling. I was with a girl at school, and I said, I love baths. And she said, I don't like baths because obviously the water goes up your bum and then it flushes out all of the particles and you're basically bathing in your own faeces. I only have showers, and I said, well, you must have absolutely loads of built-up faeces in your bum. And I felt like, poof. I was like, it was honestly the first time that I'd ever felt like I'd won an argument.
OK, let's... there are creatures that actually sort of create their own quicksand in order to be able to hide. So an octopus, underwater, if it wants to escape, one of the things it can do is make all the sand particles drift apart by making a sort of mushy mixture. So look at it, it's taking in water and putting it down to the sand, and then it just disappears.
That's amazing.
So that's your quicksand. It's sandy, but it won't suck you under.
No, I will not take the bait.
Can I just say, can I have that as the special ringtone when you phone me?
So they may not have any quicksand, but what should you watch out for when house hunting on the moon?
Foxtons.
What should you look out for?
I mean, I've looked at a few pictures of the moon. I think you'd want to find a house. Just one house.
Well, the difficulty about finding a house is finding a house that would stay standing up.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Because it's different, the gravity and all that's different and all that there, isn't it? But that's why the astronauts were all bouncing. It wasn't because of their shoes, it was because things are different up there, she said scientifically.
Yeah.
I'm not meaning to step on anyone's toes, but I am wearing the blue of the science officers of Star Trek. And there are nerds in the audience who are waiting for someone to acknowledge that.
OK, do you know what Holly is?
The red, of course, die first.
Die first. Go behind a rock, hear a bang, then you run round and there's just a pair of boots with smoke coming out.
Yeah. It's because there was security and there was really no colour, such as a teal uniform.
So I don't exist.
Yeah, you're the entertainment branch. Anyway,
Is it windy on the moon?
no, so the answer is the same as earthquakes, but there are moonquakes. So the moon does not have tectonic plates such as we do on Earth. The quakes are caused by the strain of changes in temperature, also by meteorites hitting it or by tidal forces exerted by the Earth. Moonquakes are not just violent, they're really lengthy. So the initial quake is about 10 minutes, and then it tails off, but it lasts for hours.
Wow.
And all the time, honestly, the moon is ringing like a bell. It happens about every month or so, and we know this from the seismographs left on the moon by the Apollo astronauts. In fact, it's disturbed the ground on the moon, and some of the footprints left on the moon by the Apollo astronauts may no longer be there. We definitely know that Neil Armstrong's very first footprint is not there anymore. Do we know why it's not there anymore?
Because they never went, did they?
Is it because he was wearing stilettos and it just leaves a tiniest little imprint?
No, well, it is to do with another footprint. Buzz Aldrin stepped in it.
I always hated that guy.
And then, of course, the takeoff, the blast from the lunar module would also
yeah.
have obliterated it. What's the best place to live on the moon?
There's no caves or anything, are there?
It's really interesting that you mentioned that because the Japanese space probe Selene recently found a huge cave on the moon. Yes, it is 31 miles long, 100,
Is it?
Yep, 100 metres wide. It could contain a small city.
It's 31 miles long and 100 metres wide?
Yeah.
Is it just one way in, one way out?
I don't think anybody's actually been in to find out if there's
might
an
be a
exit
bear in
back
there.
door. Anyway, here is my next question. What can't I hear you do in space?
That's a very poor fitting couch. How did I get my head in that thing?
It's fantastic.
You cannot hear sound in space. So when you see films, pew, 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 wrong, because you wouldn't hear the pew, 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 because you couldn't hear any sound.
What is that?
That's a recreation of, it's a space battle.
Space battle, OK.
When I get excited about something, I pretend I've got like a missile launcher and I go. Do you not do that in the car if you're in a traffic jam?
Just give me the answer. What's the answer?
Sound? Screaming sound?
So you can hear screaming then?
Well, it's a vacuum, right? Sound can't reverberate.
But there are conditions where you could hear a scream, and that is what I'm going to come to.
Yes, I know, but
she
for
got you there.
No, she has not got me there, because the question as it was presented by my learned friend
Yes.
was, what can you hear in space? Answer scream. And I said, because space is completely silent, which he said, and I went, did I just talk to myself?
No.
Because I thought I just said
What
that.
I did not say...
Oh,
what
God,
you-
I wish I was in space!
I did not say what you might be wearing.
Oh, well, for the love of God, Sandy. This is like
And
the
this
worst...
picture was a clue. So, sound is caused by the vibration of molecules, and if you didn't have a spacesuit on, it would be almost impossible to hear anything at all. However, astronauts can talk to each other by touching helmets. So...
I'm off, all right,
So the sound vibrations, they travel through the air inside the spacesuits and inside the glass, enough for them to be able to communicate with raised voices. And in fact, NASA teach this to the astronauts as a sort of backup in case radio communication fails.
Sure.
So we're going to try it. You've
Why
both
you don't get any lesbians in space?
you've both got helmets. Pop them on.
That smells really bad.
They're enormous, much bigger than mine.
Brian,
It's much bigger, but mine looks exactly like Caesar.
stand up and touch helmets and see if you can, if it helps you to hear. Now talk to each other.
Hello.
I've always loved you. I just like...
Does it make a difference?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Not really, Sandy, I'll be honest.
We can't hear you.
Can I take it off now?
No. Yeah, no, go ahead. Could you feel the vibrations through the helmet?
I don't think I could really hear, but I don't really understand her at the best of times, so...
No, that is The whole principle that vibrations travel through an object, it was a thing that Beethoven used later in life when he went deaf. He used to put a pencil in his mouth while he played, and he would touch the other end to the piano soundboard, and he could feel the vibration of the notes, even though he couldn't hear them. What would an astronaut do with a Snoopy cap?
I need to know this because my little boy's going as Snoopy for World Book Day.
Oh, OK. So that's the cap. That's Neil Armstrong wearing it. And it is the communication sort of radio microphone combo. And they referred to it as the Snoopy cap. It does look a bit, doesn't it? It looks a little bit like
It
Snoopy.
looks like when I put a bra on my head for fun on a Saturday night. Have you ever done that? That's exactly what I do. If you've never walked into a room on a Saturday night with a bra on your head going... You have not lived.
I have that to look forward to. Now, what would you do if you saw this chappie on the side of the road?
Hitchbot. So is it a hitcher?
It is, yes, yes.
Pick it up. You better pick it up.
You better pick it up. That is entirely correct. It is a hitchhiking robot. So, Hitchbots, it was a pair of robots. They were created in 2014 by David Harris Smith of McMaster University and Frauke Zeller of Ryerson University, and the aim was to see how far human kindness would take a mechanical hitchhiker. And the robots travelled through Canada, they travelled through Germany and the Netherlands, and they relied entirely on friendly human beings taking them from town to town. At one stage, in less than a month, one Hitchbot hitched a total of 19 rides, travelling more than 10,000 kilometres. And then they thought, we'll travel across the United States. 2015, in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, 17 days after they set off, the robot was found beaten up and dismembered in a ditch.
Does it have a message on it or something?
It has a voice box, and the robot would explain the particular destination that it wanted to go to, explain that it couldn't move of its own accord, and then it had solar panels which would help to charge it, and then there were cameras that took occasional photos, and then they were able to track them through the 3G and the GPS.
I love that somebody's idea when they picked that up was just kick the shit out.
Yeah. Do you know why I wouldn't pick that up, though? I have a real emotional problem with robots.
Why?
I fear the sentient nature of robots.
You're afraid of robots?
I love them, but I worry that they have feelings and we're ignoring them. But you do... I've just said I've got a problem. It's almost as if you're taunting me with my own phobia.
So what are the chances,
3
right?
more seconds and it'll be towering over you.
The thing is, what's happening about robot-human relations? It might not all be bad. So they did a research in some Germans in 2018. They asked 89 students to look after a really cute-looking robot called Now and answer some questions and so on. And later on, they were told to turn the robot off, and it was programmed to say, "No, please do not switch me off." OK, listen to you. So a third of the humans took twice as long as normal to turn off the robots that were speaking compared to the ones that said...
please. Please do not turn me off. Oh, don't turn it off, leave it.
There were 13 students who refused to turn it off at all. They just couldn't do it. Do you remember Marvin from Hitchhiker's Guide?
Yes.
OK.
Brain
so,
the size of a planet.
OK. Yeah.
Opening door.
Marvin, the paranoid android. OK, Marvin the paranoid android from Hitchhiker's Guide. Hello, Marvin, how are you?
I think you ought to know I'm feeling very depressed.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. So you're a hitchhiking robot. Any idea why someone might want to murder you?
I'm 50,000 times more intelligent than you, and even I don't know the answer. It gives me a headache just trying to think down to your level.
Wow, I'm getting an inkling about that murder thing. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
You don't have to pretend to be interested in me, you know. I know perfectly well I'm only a menial robot.
Well, anyway, 42 points to Marvin. Let's give him a round of applause.
It'll be a nightmare getting on the tube with that, isn't it?
Was there not that terrible moment when it was one of the camera things that went to a planet or the moon or somewhere like that, and the last message it sent was, "It's going very dark now," and I was just like, oh my, that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
I think it might be the Opportunity rover on Mars.
Yeah, and it sent a wee message saying, "That's me away now, it's going dark," and I was like, oh my God.
I don't think it said, "That's me away now." before putting on tartan pyjamas. Well, what I can tell you is that Marvin was actually designed by somebody. It was designed by Dirk Maggs, producer of the last 4 series of Hitchhiker, operated by his son Tom. And Dirk has just flown in from New York, especially where the 6th series has just won a major award. Where are you, Dirk? There.
Yeah.
Okay. And in fact, our very own John Lloyd was the voice of the book. Fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, back to quests. What are these people firing at each other?
Not lasers.
Not lasers, no.
Light-emitting diodes.
A torch.
I like the torch best. So they don't actually fire lasers, why not?
Because you'd die,
You would die, yes.
which would be so fun.
I guess, though, like, Torch Quest doesn't sound as good as Laser
Yeah.
Quest.
No, it's not quite as exciting.
People aren't like, oh, God, I'll pay £16 to flash someone.
Yeah, no. They're firing infrared beams, and they usually have a coloured light sent out at the same time, and I suppose it makes it look
When
a
I
little
was,
bit like a laser.
When I was about 12, my parents used to have a shop quite near a Laser Quest, so they'd basically just give us, like, the entrance fee, and we'd just play for hours and hours. I used to sometimes just go on my own, and it was just, I mean, that's got to be one of the saddest things, you know.
Yeah, going to Laser
Being
Quest by yourself.
13 and just shooting at 8-year-olds, just, you know, like knowing the terrain like the back of your hand. Thinking, you idiot, you're going to get me here. I'm going behind the corrugated ramp. You're going to eat your dust, you dickhead.
So the difference is a laser is a way of focusing light in a single direction. So even a weak laser pointer can cause retinal damage, you know, if you expose your eye to it. The thing about laser beams is you can't see them side on at all, right?
Did you say lesbians or laser?
That's
A
correct.
Freudian
Yeah.
slip, that
Yeah.
one.
Cannot see lesbians side on. It's,
Let's try that out, right? I'll go here and see how many lesbians you can see on stage. I was here all the time.
Can't see a laser beam
Lesbian.
side on.
That's different.
You can't see it side on because the light is so concentrated, it's just going in one direction. So in order to see it from the side, some of the light would have to be travelling towards your eye, and that happens if it goes through dust or fog because it scatters some of the light. Supplementary question. Why might I say that Laser Quest is full of losers?
Holly?
Is it going to be an acronym? Or
It
something?
is. It is an acronym, you're absolutely right. Do you know what the acronym LASER, do you know what it stands for?
Oh, no, I have known in the past, but no.
Okay,
The first one's light.
Light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation is the thing. However, some people have noted that the light is technically being oscillated. So a more accurate name would be light oscillation by stimulated emission radiation. So strictly speaking, a laser ought to be a loser.
Loser Quest.
And speaking of losing, set your faces to buzz because it's time to journey into the uncharted quadrant of space that is general ignorance. Let's start with an easy one. What is this? Yes, Joe.
A melon.
Is it the moon or is it the Earth?
I knew that.
You're not far off, actually. If we pull out, it is an artist's impression of what is a moon. OK, so this is a wonderful piece of science. So in 2018, the astronomers Juna Kohlmeier and Sean Raymond, they published research based on one of the children's questions, Kohlmeier's children's, can a moon have a moon? So it's a really interesting question. So let us imagine that this is the Earth here, and let us imagine that this is the moon, and it's going round. So the question was, can the moon have a moon of its own? So here you'd have this going around the moon and the whole thing going all the way around the Earth like this. And they worked out it is mathematically...
Yeah, I'm going to say yes.
Yes, it is mathematically
If it's
possible.
got enough gravitational oomph.
Well, what they worked out is that the moon, OK, so the baby moon, the ping pong ball, if you like...
Another word for the moon.
I know.
I think it's technically called a tax haven.
This one, the moon's moon, would have to be no more than 6 miles in diameter. Any bigger than that, it would get pulled towards the planet due to gravity and it would be ripped apart. And the scientists have worked out that there are moons in our solar system, like Titan, which is a moon of Saturn, and Callisto, which is a moon of Jupiter, and they are big enough to host a moon.
Could you have a moon?
Well, yes.
Like, what's the planning permission on moons? You know?
I don't know. They have made another discovery that we, in fact, have something called the Kordylewski clouds, and Earth has actually got 2 extra moon-like dust clouds that orbit the planet.
Right.
They're not solid, but they are huge. Each one covers an area of space 9 times wider than the Earth, and they glow very slightly in the light of the sun, but very faintly. It's very difficult to spot them against all the light of stars, the galaxy, the glow of the sky, and so on. Named after a Polish astronomer, Kordylewski. This is a very nice new football. Do you want it to take home?
Yeah.
Can I have the hockey ball?
No, the moon.
Can I have a present?
You can have the hockey ball. There you go, give it to the kids, the one.
Oh, that's really sweet of you. Do you want the robot? Right. Name this phenomenon.
Northern Lights, is it? Is it a shooting star?
It's not a shooting star.
Can I just say, I've
Yes.
watched this show loads, and
Okay.
I've always hated that font.
Well, we could try it in another font next
If you
time.
could, thank you.
So, what is the name of this? It is not the Northern Lights. It has a name, and the name is just an ordinary name.
Norman.
Steve!
Yes!
No.
It is called Steve! It's called Steve! Yes!
It can't be. Is it called
It is. It was. So here's the story. It was first identified in 2017. It appears for up to an hour at a time. It was a Citizens Science Skywatching Group, and they named it after the 2006 children's film called Over the Hedge. Do you know this film? Yeah. Well, the animal characters, not knowing what a hedge is and wanting it to be less frightened, named it Steve. So when they discovered this and they didn't know what it was, they decided to name it Steve. It can stretch for thousands of miles in a sort of beautiful purple band. Now, that NASA have got involved. They have officially said that Steve stands for Strong Thermal Emission Velocity Enhancement.
Forget going out into space and looking back at the Earth. I just had a very spiritual experience there.
Take the rest of the night off, mate.
Yeah.
Take the rest of the year off.
How many points do I get for that?
It's looking good. It's looking very...
Oh, no, hang on. Just because he said Steve.
Yeah. Yeah. You said Norman, which isn't even an interesting period for churches. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, Steve... studies are ongoing. Nobody's quite sure what it is. Now, what's so dangerous about flying through an asteroid field?
Impact with an asteroid? No, there isn't a danger.
There isn't a
then.
danger. It's no more dangerous than flying through normal space, so we have to blame science fiction here.
What?
Yes.
What? Why?
Well, because they're always portrayed as being unbelievably dense and treacherous, full of spinning rocks and debris.
Yes.
The truth is, the average distance between asteroids is about 600,000 miles. Most of the objects, when you do come across one, about the size of a tennis ball.
I don't think that's right. And again, I know you guys are all sitting there with your science and stuff like that, but no.
Okay.
Were you there when the asteroids were made, holding God's hand?
12 spacecraft have so far travelled through our solar system's asteroid belt. None of them has ever come even close to
But that's
colliding.
your issue right there, Sandy
What?
Foxwig. Our solar system. I'm talking about the other solar systems that exist.
All the other ones
All
that we
the other
don't
ones
know about.
that we don't know about that
Okay.
might look like that.
I weirdly was sticking to facts we knew.
You should have QI brackets Earth version.
Yeah, that's it. The chances of being hit by an asteroid is about 1 in a billion if you go into an
That
asteroid.
would be really
The chances of anything coming from Mars are 1,000,000 to 1. They say, woo, wee, wee.
And then they cut to the shot of the two of us with bras on our head.
Where's that song from?
That's from Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. When I was younger, we only had one tape in the car for summer holidays, and it was that one tape, and we listened to it for 10 years.
That's a really long holiday.
We had the same with Joseph's Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Oh, yeah.
A flash of light, my golden coat flew out of sight.
Colours will darkness. I was left alone.
Was left alone.
May I return?
May I return
To the beginning.
The world and I.
The world and I.
We are still dreaming.
The asteroid belt contains a lot less material than you might think. Why is this skirt called?
That really was intolerable.
That was terrible. And you, all of you. Yeah. Why is this skirt called a mini skirt?
Because of the size of it.
No, it is really extraordinary. It was named after the Mini Cooper, named after the car. So it had nothing to do with the size. So Mary Quant, she's the person who sort of popularised the miniskirt, she said it shared many of the qualities of the Mini Cooper. It was optimistic, exuberant, young and flirty, but she never, ever mentioned that it was small. Anyway, I had a thought, Joe, which is that picture that we had at the beginning with the woman wearing the miniskirt. I really liked the wig she was wearing, so I've got it for you because I thought it would look really nice in it.
Oh.
Look, do you want to try it on, darling?
Just checking you haven't got the rest of the outfit.
No, I haven't.
Steve!
Oh, it looks really good on you, darling.
You actually look pretty hot.
You just look like an alien, don't you? Captain Kirk, I will destroy your ship.
Is that what I say? Yeah. Captain Kirk, I will destroy your ship, you naughty boy.
And so, before we terminate the show, it's time for Judgment Day. Let's take a look at the scores. First of all, in 5th place, light years behind the rest, with minus 56, it's Alan. Receiving a special commendation from Starfleet, with minus 3 in 4th place, it's Susan. Going down, all guns blazing in 3rd, it's Joe. And in 2nd place, lost in space, it's Holly. And our winner tonight with 42, it's Marvin. So it's farewell from Susan, Joe, Holly, Alan and me. Take us out, please, Mr. Davis. Quizzical about everything in the Q animal kingdom. Let's meet tonight's menagerie. The questing Phil Jupitus. The queenly Carriad Lloyd. The quasi-autonomous Davis, Daliso Chaponda. And an absolute corker, Alan Davis. And their buzzers tonight are a quartet of quadrupeds, a moose in a quarry. A moose in a quandary. A moose in a quadcopter. And a Komodo dragon in Quentin Tarantino's jacuzzi.
Oh, my God! There's a fucking Komodo dragon in the pool!
OK, excellent. Right, I love this. What is blue and sounds like a whale?
Is it a blue whale?
And we're off to a roaring start. The whole...
Is it a sad dolphin? Oh, I didn't expect you to care. Of course, dolphins, we care about
Yeah,
them,
we
don't
care about
What
them.
does a whale sound like?
They're really soothing. You know,
Yeah.
they have those tapes to help you get to sleep.
Yeah.
Steve, how far away are you? 1,500 miles. You hear me? Yes, the sound is loud and clear. What are you eating? Plankton. What colour are you? Blue. You sound like a whale.
There was a genius comic called Linda Smith, and one of her best jokes was she said, I bought one of those tapes of whale music, and I thought it was really soothing. Turned out to be a dolphin tribute band.
Also, we don't know what it means. It could be soothing to us, but they're saying, I'm choking on the plastic.
Yes, there you go. Can I just remind everybody that this season is the letter Q.
Q, something...
So-
Q. The Queen.
What is blue and sounds like a whale?
A quail.
Yes, a blue quail is the correct answer.
We're doing Christmas cracker jokes.
Oh, we're just trying to upset
As
Alan.
in, what is orange and sounds like? A parrot.
What is orange?
A carrot.
Oh, sorry. So the blue quail lives in sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah.
It's one of about 40 species of quail worldwide. Actually, only the males are blue. Girls, they're brown with buff underparts. Don't you love the word buff?
Yes.
You never know what the plural of quail is.
Quaili.
No, it's quail.
Okay.
It's just quail.
It's always worth having a go, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it?
Quail eye for the straight guy.
That's a programme I'd like to see. What did quail teach us about sex in space, do you suppose?
They sent quails up to space.
Yes, they could, in fact, be called the very first extraterrestrial life form.
OK, I'm going to take a mad guess.
Yep.
They taught us how to be caring lovers.
Well,
They sent the eggs up.
they did send the eggs up. They were the very first vertebrates to be born in space.
In zero gravity.
They went up into the Mir space station in 1990, part of the Russian programme. They wanted to find out if quail would be a good food source for a long-term mission. So 8 of them hatched out of that lot, but they couldn't cope with zero gravity. So they simply couldn't latch on and feed themselves at all. So this is the sweetest thing. The cosmonauts had to stop every 2 hours and feed the quail. And in the end, they invented a little jacket that harnessed them to the feeder. They were like that, feeding in this quail jacket. What they discovered was it completely removes their sex drive.
What?
Yes, entirely going up into space. The females stopped ovulating, the males had reduced testosterone levels, and both sexes exhibited an absolute apathy to mating.
So this means my girlfriend's been to space.
Maybe.
I'd be all right if Sandra Bullock drifted by in her underwear. That'd be... Oh, there's Sandra. I knew she'd be here.
Sorry, I'm having trouble concentrating. I'm just thinking about Sandra Bullock. But there seems to be a great deal of interest in the sex life of quails. So this is one of my favourite studies. So the University of Kentucky in 2011, they received a massive grant from the National Institute of Health to study what the effect of cocaine is on the sex drive of the Japanese quail.
Everyone's just deep frying everything and see what happens.
Here's the thing that will surprise you. Apparently, apparently, the cocaine was linked to increased risky sexual behaviour.
Well, I'll say, where's my drugs?
So, old British words for quail, they used to be called butt for butt.
Butt for butt.
They get better. Wet my lips. And quick middick.
And there's another medieval phrase for quail, which is cocaine whore.
They all refer to the sounds that they make. In fact, so does the word quail itself. It comes from the medieval Latin name for them, which was quacula. So it's supposed to be the sound. Shall we have a listen and see if we think it sounds like any of those things?
Got any gear? Got any gear?
You're going to love this, Alan. I have a fact that is just for you. OK. The male Japanese quail, they have a gland above their sex organ. And it secretes,
It's right up your alley.
It secretes a liquid containing... It has some of the same enzymes and proteins that you get in egg white. And they whip this into a stiff foam using their sphincter. And then... Yes, imagine you're beating like this.
And then ever take a Japanese quail meringue,
And then they deposit into the female after the sperm.
Like a dessert.
I don't know what it's...
Is it like clay to make sure it doesn't come back out?
Like a cork.
Yes.
Yes. There seems to be some advantage, but we don't know what it is, other than, I think, fun. We've talked a lot about the male quail. There's something interesting about the females. They're attracted to losers.
We've all been there.
Yeah. McMaster's University in Ontario, they did some research. So what they did, they had two male quail in a box with a plexiglass divider down the middle, and they fought by trying to peck each other through the glass. And they had a female quail watch this, and when she was placed in with the two males, she preferred the loser, the one who had shown the least aggression.
Perhaps it didn't show what he could do with his whipping sphincter. Perhaps he lost in the pecking, but she was checking the sphincter, and she was like, look at the whip on that. Yes, please.
It's also possible she's hoping that the male quail is not going to be aggressive towards her.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Now, what's the most numerous undomesticated bird in the world?
Pigeon.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
Does that mean he's right?
No, he's wrong.
Oh, he's wrong.
It means he's wrong.
It means he's wrong, OK.
You'll hear that a lot when Alan speaks.
OK.
Chicken.
I told you.
I didn't get too wrong.
So I'm going to give you a clue. This is one of the ways to kill it. This is a piece of dynamite.
OK.
The Roadrunner.
Woody Peck. Yeah.
Does it live in Britain?
No, so Daliso is in with the best chance of knowing this, as there are lots of these in Malawi.
Oh, OK.
Yes?
It's weaver birds. Quilea?
Quilea.
Weaver bird is what we call them. But
Quilea.
Quilea.
Yes, you're
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely right. It's called the red-billed Quilea.
Oh,
You should... They should not be applauding these things. They are a menace.
OK.
These things are like the bane of farmers. They, like, flock and they eat, like, everything.
Yeah,
they're like...
feathered locusts.
That's exactly it, yes.
There are approximately 1.5 billion of these birds. So to put that into some kind of context, the UK's most numerous bird is the wren. There are 8.6 million breeding pairs. They come in flocks of 2 million birds.
my God.
And each bird eats roughly half its own body weight a day.
What?
Are they
So-
going to eat that elephant?
Well, they're going to eat the weight of an elephant. They can consume 20 tonnes a day, one flock. So they can absolutely decimate agriculture. It is an extraordinary thing.
And getting rid of them, they like people go through the field with like drums trying to chase them away. We don't have dynamite. That seems like a better plan than the drums.
The drums are like, we might get dynamite, guys. We might. We're seriously thinking about it.
We don't have the budget.
But you're right, if you don't have the money for dynamite, you just try and go into the field to scare them, but they're incredibly mobile and they'll just go on to the next field and...
They do have wings, don't they?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. But they've tried napalm, they've tried pathogens, they've tried electronic devices, dynamite, firebombing...
What about kindness? You know, a little bit of love. I have a field full of Smarties and they all go over there.
No one thinks of it.
Or just 1 million cats.
Can you imagine the poor pilot who, you know, he wants to see action in the army and they send him to firebomb a bunch of birds?
Yeah, a bunch of birds. About 50 million are killed in South Africa alone every single year. But they have very few natural predators, and the females produce about 9 offspring a year, so they're able to just keep replenishing themselves. I have to say, this is not the only animal that farmers use dynamite on. I love this story. In the Austrian province of Vorarlberg, in 2018...
Oh, God.
They banned...
Not Daisy.
You're going to hate this. They banned the practice of blowing up dead cows.
Yeah. Is that how they'd make a stew? What would...
No, so what it is that area is a very alpine area. It's right on the Swiss border. And when a cow dies, you've got to get rid of it, but it can die by falling down a precipice or being struck by lightning or something. But it's really difficult to get rid of the remains, and so they were having to helicopter the dead cows out. that costs $1,000 a trip, so some farmers were blowing them up. $32 to blow up.
No expense spared on it.
$22.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you know why they've stopped doing it? It's against the law now to do it. Do you know why?
Well, it might spread diseases, surely.
Contamination of the groundwater,
Yeah.
but the other thing which I really like is it was putting tourists off.
What shall we do today? Let's just blow it up. I can't be asked getting a helicopter.
What fun.
What is happening over there in Austria? We're making some cheese with holes in. We are hearing the banging and there is meat landing on my roof.
No, we're not doing anything. No, just carry on with your cheese. Blow it up now!
I have a hoof in my cheese.
Don't tell everybody, they'll all want one.
Anyway, who's started waking up earlier in order to get more selfies?
Is it Snoop?
Teenagers.
Teenagers? No?
There are all these young pop stars, the Kardashians and stuff, who've got selfies. Do I win something?
No, it's not a good thing.
I get a buzz for saying Kim Kardashian?
Yeah, because we thought it was predictable that somebody at some point...
I'm not
mentioned-
Kanye West!
Don't get cross, darling. It's fine. Remember, we're in Q and we're doing animals.
Q animals.
Q animals.
Quail.
Queen koala.
OK, you are in the right part of the world.
A queen kangaroo.
You are in the right part of the world. It is the world's happiest...
Oh, the tiny face from New Zealand?
Yes.
Is
No.
it Australia. A tiny happy one from Australia. I mean, when you take a picture, it looks like he's smiling, and people keep taking pictures, and it looks like he's poking his head in, smiling. So
It is
cute.
the world's happiest animal.
Is it a quagga?
Quagga. Yes,
Oh, it's so
absolutely
cute.
right. Very well. Have you seen one?
What?
There,
Look,
look.
so cute.
No, I haven't. I want one.
They live mostly on a little tiny island called Rottnest, just off Perth, just off the coast of Western Australia.
That's a great photo.
Isn't it the cutest
I don't
thing?
trust it. That's like a person in a suit. That's...
Oh, look, have you seen the rest of the peloton? I lost the guys completely.
So the quokka, it's an Aboriginal word, and the Dutch sailors initially mistook them for giant rats, so that's why the island is called Rottnest. And there are more than 7,400 quokka selfies, which were posted on social media in 2018.
So cute.
Helped by the fact that people like Roger Federer, the tennis player, and Margot Robbie, the actress, both did them. There's Roger Federer with quokka. And
Who
apparently...
are you R-ing? Roger Federer or the Quackers? Everybody was like,
They're all on push bikes as well.
Here is the sweetest thing about them. They're nocturnal, but those that are on Rottnest are now staying awake during the day in order to spend time with the tourists. And the ones who are on the bit of the island that's highly developed for tourism are doing better than the ones in the less disturbed habitats. Yeah. Here's the thing that's slightly going to put you off the quokka.
Oh, does it shit in your face?
that put me right
It's
off.
got a gland that makes a stew that you have sex with.
Do not eat their pavlovas.
Not great parents. So when the female quokka becomes aware of a predator, the first thing she does is she ejects the joey from her pouch, and the infant lies on the ground making a sort of hissing noise, and this distraction allows the mother to escape and leave the predator. Really?
I mean, you say bad parent, but in a way, she's smart, isn't she?
Animals do that, don't they?
Well, grey kangaroos do it, swamp wallabies, and there are lots of other
Are they called
examples.
coquettes, the female quokkas?
God, Roger Federer and the Croquettes is the band I want to see.
Quokkas get their beauty sleep at night now, so they can always look their best for a daytime selfie.
But selfies are dangerous.
Oh, yes, they are. Many
Yes.
people die doing selfies.
Also, like, I was given advice by a comedian who said, oh, if a fan comes and they recognize you and they're excited, maybe you should say, oh, do you want a selfie? Because sometimes they're too shy. And I followed this advice.
Yes.
And in Nottingham, a woman was like, oh, I recognize you. I was like, oh, hi. And I said, do you want a selfie? And she said, no, you're not the Eiffel Tower.
Now, sticking with Australian marsupials, a quoll is a squirrel-sized marsupial, OK? Let us imagine that you're hosting a barbie, you're in Australia, and a mob of quolls turn up. What are you going to offer them?
Straight away, you give them a tinny. Then you ask them if they're veggie.
OK. They're not vegetarian.
But why do we have to offer them anything? We didn't invite them. Now we're catering for everyone who turns up?
Yes, so there is a reason why you want them to eat something.
Because they're cuter than you. So
Oh, no,
eat
it's...
that which is cuter than you.
I don't think that's a nature's rule. What's a barbecue thing? Another barbecue thing?
Burgers, sausages.
Sausages! OK, sausages is what you need to offer them. What kind of sausages do you think you might offer a quoll?
Vegetarian sausages.
OK, the reason we need to do this is to save them from extinction. Is the real reason.
They should have said that when they turned up.
Yeah, so...
We're being extinct, feed us. Because I was like, get out of here. This is my barbecue, I've invited my friends.
No, their numbers have dropped dramatically, and it is because partly they've been eaten by foxes and they've been eaten by cats, which were introduced by the Victorians, but also they like to eat cane toads. So there is a toxin in the back of a cane toad.
No.
So licking them can cause hallucinations, and there are indeed Australian dogs which are entirely addicted to doing this.
That's an addict.
A Labrador on a trip is a fantastic thought. But the quolls can be killed by this poison. So, in order to educate them not to eat cane toads, they're being fed sausages made from toad mince. They take the harmful skin off, they make the mince, and they lace it with a chemical which makes the quolls feel nauseous. And the plan is to put them off eating toad.
But I think the ones in the wild don't smell like barbecued.
Also, were they hoping that they go back home? They're like, oh, Tony, I had some toad.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you what, it was bad. Oh, I'll go and tell Sheila. Let's spread the word.
Well,
Tony had a bad toad sausage. We should all avoid it.
up to 68% of the wild quolls that have been fed toad sausages have been put off eating toad.
They've got good social networking.
And they're actually hoping now that they can drop toad sausages by helicopter.
Just say that one more time.
They are astonishing cane toads, so they're not native to Australia at all. They're native to Central and South America. In 1935, they were brought in to sugar plantations in order to get rid of a pest, which was the cane beetle. They brought in 102 toads. It was a failure. Why?
Hello. I think we should definitely leave Europe.
Why would it be a failure?
They eat other things.
No, so they live on the ground and beetles can fly.
Oh, shit.
Duh. These 102 toads have grown into today's population of 1.5 billion toads.
God.
And they have devastated Australia's flora and fauna.
Toads love to do it.
Oh, a female toad can have 35,000 eggs.
What?
Yeah. So here's a nice thing, apart from the toad sausages. One of the ways they're thinking now of saving the quoll is to turn them into pets. There are people who say that you should have them instead of a cat, and in fact, they're rather sweet. They can be trained. They can use a litter tray. They weigh about the same.
Yes, sweet, really sweet.
Joey,
It's not working out.
Have you got your foot sticking out from under the duvet and that gets hold of you?
They do have the second biggest bite force quotient. So how hard they can bite relative to the size of any animal.
Good for children, then.
Yeah. Second only to the Tasmanian devil. But, of course, keeping them as pets is not going to save the wild population in any way whatsoever. Here's a fact about quolls that I love. The breeding season only lasts for 3 days, during which they mate with their partner every 15 minutes for the entire duration.
Oh,
Wow. Yeah. The males and the females only meet for that 3-day fest.
They want to stop eating the toads and talk to them about having sex.
Also, not great parents, these ones.
Oh, they're never.
Here we go.
No,
Yeah.
so what they do is they give birth to about 30 offspring. Each one is the size of a grain of rice. But the female koala only has 6 nipples, so the first 6 who are fastest to latch on...
Come on, boys!
Yeah.
The trash is fastest.
Yeah.
That's madness.
Like some insane reality show.
Why don't they just sit like that in your living room?
The idea of you being a squirrel-sized marsupial.
What a tremendous bite force! Almost equivalent to the Tasmanian devil, which can have sex whenever it wants!
Scientists are encouraging quolls to eat sausages rather than toads in the hole. Right, moving on. What is wrong with this zebra? Yes.
No barcode.
It's just like a mutant zebra with like half the stripes.
It's an extinct subspecies
Oh,
of
someone shouted
zebra.
out.
It is a quagga indeed.
But wait, didn't we already... Aren't the birds the quaggers?
Quackers and crackers.
No, so we've had quolls and quackers and quilea. It's Q, darling. There's going to be a lot of animals beginning with Q.
It just feels like Dr. Zeus has moved in and started taking over. There's quackers and quackers and quails.
And all of them have the most magnificent tails.
It's an extinct subspecies of zebra, lived in southern Africa. It was stripy, but only down to the shoulders. It's been sort of described as a zebra who's forgotten his pyjama bottoms.
I'll tell you an interesting thing about stripes. I went to school in Kenya, and we read early colonial books, and they theorized, because they'd never seen any mixed-race children.
Right.
So they imagined that a child would be born with stripes if a black person and a white person...
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, it makes sense if you think about it. If you've never seen it, it's more logical. You know what I mean? Like, these are people who thought the world was flat, OK? But still, you know, that's what they thought would happen.
That's appalling.
It's appalling.
Can I just apologise?
It's nice saying, but it's a bit like...
Anyway, what I love about the quagga is it's a really good example of humans sorting out the natural world. The quagga was made a protected species 3 years after it had already become extinct. And it was given legal protection by the Cape Town government in 1886, and the last one died in an Amsterdam zoo in 1883. So they were 3 years too late.
Wake up, Clifford, it is time for your Edam. No, he's dead! Oh, that zookeeper.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
I thought it'd be called Clifford.
They have tried to reverse engineer a quagga. So in 1987, they tried to see if they could get one through selective breeding. And in fact, they successfully bred the plain hindquarters, but it is still genetically a zebra. It is
Did
not
anybody not watch Jurassic Park?
Here's an interesting thing. For a long time, Grant Museum at the University College London believed it owned 2 zebra skeletons. But they re-examined them in 1972. They found one was a quagga and one was a donkey. So they didn't have any zebra skeletons. This is a fantastic thing. This is the actual skeleton of the quagga. Now, if you have a look at the back left leg, you can see that there is just a sort of a black outline. And that is because that particular leg is missing on this quagga. And this has an extraordinary story, and here to tell us about it is the curator of the Grant Museum, Tanis Davidson. Hello, Tanis. First of all, can I just say, fabulous museum, and a rare museum, is it not, the Grant Museum?
Yes, we are the last university zoological museum in London.
And anybody can go and visit it?
Yes, we're open to the public Monday through Saturday, 1 till 5.
OK, so these skeletons of quaggas, how many do you think there are in the world?
Well, it's one of our star specimens. We think there's only 7 quagga skeletons anywhere in the world.
Right.
And as far as I know, ours is the only one with a skull.
But it's missing a leg. What happened? Where the hell is the leg?
Well, the first idea is that it had been loaned to the Royal College of Surgeons just before World War II. And of course, that building was bombed, so it was lost during the bombing. Another idea was that when the specimens were evacuated to Wales, it somehow became lost.
So it could still be in Wales?
It could be.
OK, and you're holding a thing here now that this is what it would look like.
This is what it looks like.
Right. How would you know the difference between a quagga leg and a zebra leg?
It's very difficult.
Oh. So if you've got one, you may think that it is, in fact, a zebra leg.
Yes, there is an idea that perhaps this might be in someone's collection if it was lost in Wales and maybe somebody thought it was a donkey leg or a horse leg.
But you could compare it to your actual skeleton and see if it is a match.
Yes, if somebody found something like this, we could, you know, slot it in perfectly and it would just all become
OK.
you know, a whole specimen again.
I feel we are the show to help you with this.
OK.
So, this is a Crime Watch appeal. Has any information relating to the whereabouts of this missing quagga leg, please come forward. There is a reward, an all-expenses-paid trip to the mountains of Kong. Thank you. Thank you very much, Tanis. Fantastic. I love the idea. Somebody in Wales is going, I think there's one of those in the loft.
I know.
Anyway, what is the most offensive thing anyone could do with this? I actually have two, and it involves doing something with two of them.
Sandy, for me. Come on, both of them.
This summer, from Walt Disney Productions.
So you need both of them. You actually have to hold them like this.
Well, like boxing gloves.
It is exactly that they were used as boxing gloves. So, I know. So this is a queen conch, actually in the United States. It's called a conch, but the British say a conch. So about 3,000 years ago, the Mayans used them as boxing gloves, or more of a knuckle duster, possibly, part of the ritual worship of the rain god Charlock. And honestly, it resulted in quite a lot of bloodletting.
Yeah.
Which was apparently part of the ceremony. I don't know what they've got in their heads. That is this...
I would imagine if you're in a culture that's hitting each other wearing conches as boxing gloves, you're going to invent the crash helmet really fast.
It is an extraordinary thing, the queen conch. Large species of sea snail. It lives in the Atlantic. It's incredibly strong, 10 times stronger than mother of pearl. So very few predators can get into this shell, except the nurse shark. And what it does is it doesn't actually crack the shell, it just sucks the conch. Just sucks the thing.
What a way to go.
I know.
Sucked off by a shark.
That's the best production of West Side Story I ever saw.
Conch shell playing also has a tremendous tradition. So I have put a conch beside you. There's a tiny bit kind of cut off.
Whoa.
And the Aztecs used to have a conch shell trumpet. It was called a quiquiztli, and the musicians who played them were called quiquizoini. And it's thought to have had the power to defeat the Aztec Lord of the Dead. Are you ready? Wonderful noise.
That's
apparently,
amazing.
if you move your hand in and out of the aperture, that is the way in which you get.
Shut up, it's jazz.
There's an annual conch blowing competition. It's held in Key West in Florida.
I bet there is.
In 2018, a 70-year-old woman called Mary Lou Smith, she won the women's division, and her fellow conch player, a man called Rick Race, dropped to one knee and proposed.
Aww.
I know. It's a thing. People in Key West and in the Bahamas, they call themselves conches.
What am I supposed to do with mine?
I don't know. That looks like some Star Wars character or something.
I have not seen Solo.
I am your father. Oh, you will come to the seaside with me, darling. I will buy you some chips and we will go for a walk.
I can't get it off, Sandy. I can't get it off.
I'm OK with that.
Oh, what a way to finish your career.
Anyway, what does it mean if Quentin, the quahog, squirts to the right?
He votes Tory.
No, it's spelt like this. Have a look at this and see if this...
It's a shellfish, isn't it? It's a clam, like a clam.
So where would you... Have you seen that before?
They're in New England.
They are, but
Massachusetts,
where else might you have seen Quahog? It's a...
Oh, it's Family Guy.
Yeah, so it's set in a fictitious town, Family Guy, of Quahog, Rhode Island. And February the 2nd in the United States is Groundhog Day, most of North America, but in Nantucket it is Quahog Day. And a quahog called Quentin is opened, and the direction that the water spurts from his shell predicts whether winter is over. So if it squirts to the left, 6 more weeks of winter. If it squirts to the right...
That should come with a trigger warning. I did not Google image that. I was not ready.
If it squirts to the right, then winter is over. Unfortunately, Quentin himself does not live to see the prediction come true because he's eaten immediately by the harbour master who conducts the ceremony. So there's a new Quentin every year. Have you seen the groundhog when they do the Groundhog Day thing? So that's Punxsutawney Phil. That's the name of the groundhog.
Did you see on one of the movie channels the other day when it was actually Groundhog Day, they ran Groundhog Day all day?
Oh. They've been doing it since 1887. I mean, Quahog Day's only been going for 10 years, but the groundhog thing is hugely old. Although quahogs are very old in themselves. So in 2006, there were some researchers from Bangor University, and they opened up the shell of an ocean quahog, which they dredged from the coast of Iceland. Unfortunately, they had just killed the oldest animal known to science. It was 507 years old.
Oh,
you know,
humans.
They were very upset. Paul Butler from the university said we had no idea it was that old before it was too late.
That'd be a good section to do on the show, when scientists are sometimes dicks.
There once was a clam from Nantucket. I'll let you finish that one in your own time. Now, who would want to kiss these lips?
Oh, go on then.
Another one of those would want to kiss them.
It's a freshwater fish found throughout North America. It's called a quillback sucker.
Oh.
So they've got these really thick, fleshy lips, and it allows their mouths to act like a vacuum. They can actually attach to surfaces by suction. But here is how nature can be a, rotter. They have a really tiny esophagus, so they've got this great, big, fantastic vacuum mouth, but they can only eat microscopic things like algae. I know, it just seems mean, doesn't it? Big mouth, tiny ability to swallow. But...
Leave it! She set it up, we don't have to follow through.
I don't know what you're saying. So the oldest recorded quillback, 95 years old. It doesn't actually have quills on its back. It's a bit of a misnomer. It's that its dorsal fin is shaped a bit like a quill pen, is the reason. They have a polygynandrous mating system. So what that means is 2 or more males will mate exclusively with 2 or more females. It's like they belong to a swingers club.
The dirty bastards.
Yeah. There is a quillback rockfish.
I bet there is.
And that has sharp, venomous spines on its dorsal fin, and that protects it.
There he is.
That's not nice.
Your name's not down, you're not coming in.
So, most well-known quilled animal is...
The porcupine.
Porcupine. How does a porcupine make love?
Carefully.
OK, 2 families of porcupines. There's Old World and New World. This thing that we're looking here, North American New World porcupine. So, sex takes about a minute, all right? And the female signals her interest by urinating and screaming. We've all been there. Don't want to alarm anybody. We're just about to have a look at porcupines.
Is it horizontal?
Well, I'm going to show you. So,
time too.
Here's the thing. So... Mating is...
Yes, carry on. Go on. Good.
Mating is spike-free.
Yeah.
So what happens is the female turns her back on the male. She arches her tail over her back. That's covering her quills and cushioning them.
Let's talk more.
So there she's cushioned.
Let's get it on. Let's get it on.
But his member has got bristly barbs on the tip. And it usually points backwards in its sheath, but it's more like a sort of flick knife. It comes up like a sort of a... That's all I can say. The female looks like this when they're finished. There we are,
Just put it under a hand dryer.
Here's a cute thing. Baby porcupines, they're called porcupets. I know, that's so
You can't do 5 minutes of
I
something
know.
filth and then do cute baby names.
I was trying to move us along. What would a porcupine make of this?
Nice place to have sex. Seems to be what we know about them.
You're not far off. So American porcupines are extremely good at climbing trees, and it is one of the ways in which a female might show her interest is to climb a tree. And then urinate and scream.
I've climbed a tree! Ah!
Lots of them spend their entire lives up a tree, and as a consequence, I love this, they make their own antibiotics in their quills because they keep falling out of the tree and impaling themselves on the quills. I mean, that's quite flexible and bend as the porcupine lands, but they really razor sharp, the quills. They can penetrate skin unbelievably easily. But they're extremely painful to extract because they have backwards pointing barbs. So scientists are now trying to mimic this exact mechanism so we could develop better medical adhesives, so things like nicotine patches. You don't like it? You don't like to look at it?
No, it's a bit much, isn't it?
OK.
Can we have them having sex again, please?
Now, that brings us to the loving and soft environment that we call general ignorance. Fingers on buzzers, please. According to the traditional proverb, what killed the cat?
Oh, my God!
Yes!
Curiosity. The
original version for over 260 years was that care killed the cat. Care meaning worry or sorrow. If you know your Shakespeare, it's in Much Ado. What courage, man! What though care killed a cat, thou hast mettle enough in thee to kill care. In the mid-19th century, care was replaced by curiosity, and we just don't know why. The Russian version of this phrase is curious Barbara's nose was torn off at the market. Which I'm going to use in the future. I think it's rather better than curiosity killed the cat. Actually, cats are in lots of phrases, aren't they? The cat got the canary, cat got the cream.
Cat got the cream, yeah.
Cat's away, the mice will play. Cat's got your tongue. Anybody know why cat's got your tongue?
Because they're bastards.
Is that about the cat of nine tails?
It may be that. It could be as far back as, you know, the Middle East, from about 500 BC. Apparently liars had their tongues removed and fed to cats as a punishment.
If you die...
Yeah.
And you've got cats and no one finds you, after about 3 days, they will feed on your face.
Look at them. Those six there, that's what they're going to do.
I am firm in my belief that that is true because when Thomas Hardy died, the nation wanted him to be buried in Poets' Corner in Westminster Abbey, but his wife wanted him to be buried in Dorset. So it was arranged that his heart would be removed after his death and the body would go to Poets' Corner and the heart would be buried in Dorset. Anyway, the surgeon came, did it at the house. They weren't doing the burial of the heart till the next day, so he put it in a biscuit tin in the larder. And apparently, in the morning, the cat had managed to open the biscuit... Yes. Anyway, the cat eventually died. They buried the cat.
Up to its neck.
Yeah. But cats only eat their dead owners if they can't get out.
Yeah, oh, yeah, they don't want to, but they're hungry.
No. Yeah. If you're going to die, leave the cat flap open.
Yeah, put on a fencing mask. He's going.
He's put a bastard mask on!
Bastard!
Curiously, it was care that killed the cat. How can you tell if a bird is a songbird?
It'll be singing.
It's got a record deal and it's on Spotify.
It's in Little Mix.
So here's the thing, not all songbirds sing. A songbird is defined as any bird that belongs to the passerine suborder. So basically...
Cilla Black, she was a songbird.
She was a songbird. You need to have 3 toes facing forward and 1 facing back, so they're perching...
Cilla Black. What's it all about, Alfie?
The syrinx is the name for their songbox, and some are so developed that they can sing 2 notes at once really, really fast. There is a bird called the northern cardinal. It is able to sing more notes than is on the piano keyboard in 1/10 of a second. I know, that is really astonishing. But the definition of songbird is not about whether the birds actually sing, because, in fact, females, 29% of songbird species don't sing at all. So, according to the RSPB, birdsong is any sound used to attract a mate or to protect territory.
OK.
Birdsong isn't just for songbirds. How would this animal protect itself?
By, rolling into a ball.
Will it just lie down?
So here's the thing, there are 18 species of armadillo. Only 2 of them, the Brazilian 3-banded and the southern 3-banded, roll up into a ball. I was showing you a 6-banded armadillo, which does not do that.
It rolls into a square.
No, it does not go into a square, no.
That is the Rubik's armadillo.
You were right, Alan. They very quickly dig a hole and get into it and just lie in it with only the armour showing.
Is he trying to get in that hole?
Well, he's trying to dig it.
But there's one already in there. Get your own hole.
But they have another marvellous way of escaping a predator. So the 9-banded armadillo can walk underwater.
What?
So it can hold its breath for as long as 6 minutes, getting under the water. It can also make itself buoyant on the water by swallowing air and inflating its stomach and intestines.
It's Jesus.
It is a fantastic thing. Other facts about armadillos. What disease are they thought to be the only ones to get?
Leprosy. That wasn't us. You lost points on that. It's not so easy, is it? It's hard. It's difficult.
They can get leprosy, but so can mice and rats. And in fact, a 2016 study found that 1/3 of red squirrels in Britain carry leprosy.
Oh, where's your tail? It's the most appealing thing about me. Now I'm just hamster.
Right, this is true. I have terrible asthma. I do. Which of these dogs should I buy?
Toad-licking Labrador.
We're obsessed with the hallucinating
Got to get
dog.
a toad-licking psychedelic Labrador.
So is it going to be not a hypoallergenic dog, oddly?
Well, oddly, there's no such thing, really. So there are all sorts of dogs that are described as hypoallergenic. There's no evidence to support that there's such a thing
No, but I'm allergic to... And the wirier dogs that shed more, you tend to have more reactions.
It's the dog's saliva and it's the dog's dander, or the flakes of dead skin. It is found in all dog breeds. There is some thought that if they shed less fur, they release less of this protein into the environment and so into the nostrils of sufferers.
Yeah.
I have to say it's not been proved. But to be clear about this, there's no evidence to support the idea of a totally hyperallergenic dog. There are dogs that perhaps might make your life a little...
Yeah, they make it a bit easier. I'd be fine with a cockapoo.
If you're allergic to dogs, get a budgie. But now, the issue that's been dogging us, the score.
Oh, really?
The top dog with -5 is Deliso! And second place with -6, it's Phil! Actually, you're tied, you and Carrie, and also -6, so you're which means, in third place with -10, it's the audience! Alan, you've outdone yourself. In final place with -56, Alan! So, it's thanks to Deliso, Phil, Carriad and Alan, and I leave you with this quick quotation from The Porcupine poem by Ogden Nash. Any hound a porcupine nudges can't be blamed for harbouring grudges. I know one hound that laughed all winter at a porcupine that sat on a splinter. Thank you, good night. Welcome to QI, where it's the perfect time of year for a Quizmas quiz. Just look at the crackers I've pulled. Your starter for 10, Sarah Pascoe. Come on down, Josh Whittaker. He's good, but he's not quite right. Johnny Vegas! And my pointless friend, Alan Davis. Let's hear their buzzers. Sarah goes. Aw, Josh goes. Johnny goes. And Alan goes...
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Let's start with a little stocking filler, especially for Alan. 60% of the world's Christmas decorations are made in China, in a single town there. China gets the name from the Qin dynasty, which invented candles in about 200 BC. So, my seasonal starter is... What did the Qin make their candles from? Bear in mind, this is a present for you, Alan. This is an absolute gift, this. What did they make their candles from?
Blue whales?
Yes. Not necessarily blue whales. Whales generally.
Oh,
whale
well,
fat.
that's true,
But you
that's
get not only a blue whale bonus, you get this festive cheer.
Like the alarm. Tailed off into something quite menacing.
It's Quizmaz, so we're going quizzing. Has anybody had a bad quizzing experience?
I've had a few.
Oh, have you? Like what?
Well, about 4 years ago, my mum got really jealous of her twin sister, who was doing very, very well at Trivial Pursuit. And she said, can I ask the next question? And what she asked was, why have you done nothing with your life?
What category is that? Is that
Wow.
art and literature?
Wow, that's terrible.
Yeah, it ruined the quiz.
I would imagine that had a fair impact on the family as well.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody else been in quizzes that have not gone well for?
I did a pub quiz and the other team were late and they'd come all the way from Croydon or somewhere and this bloke said, oh, I feel like Marco Polo coming all the way up here. And I said, and I thought this was really funny, who's he? That's good, you see. Did a pub quiz thing and they looked at me absolutely blank, thinking, we're going to stuff
He's got
these.
nothing, he's got nothing.
It was a joke, you see. I feel like Marco Polo. Oh, who's that? And they did stuff us, actually. I didn't answer a single question. I had no idea what they were talking about. And then when they did sport, I think they did lacrosse.
Oh.
That isn't a sport, is it?
It's not a sport.
It's not a sport. It's got a net in it.
Football has a net in it?
Yeah, but they don't run around with it. It is a legitimate sport. It is. It's just I don't know anything about it. Maybe it wasn't even lacrosse. I'd switched off by then.
It's an ancient sport, actually. It's a Native American sport.
That's probably what the question was.
Oh. Had me there.
Could have done with you there, yeah. You might have laughed at the Marco Polo gag as well.
Josh, any bad quizzing experiences?
I found out a family thing at a pub quiz.
That's not your mother?
Tie-break's a tie-break, though, isn't it? So I've always been told that there's this guy I'm a descendant of called Sabin Baring Gould who wrote the lyrics to Abide With Me.
That's the claim to fame in the family?
The claim to fame in the family.
OK.
And it came up in a pub quiz, and I was like, here we bloody go. Watch out here, Sabin Baring Gould. And it wasn't him. And the whole thing had been some lie passed down in the family.
No.
And people were like, that's not even a name. Who?
That's a firm of chartered surveyors.
I don't know that the biggest shock in a family is you discover you're not related to the person who wrote Abide With Me.
Every FA Cup final day ruined now.
I used to host a quiz.
Right.
I worked at a pub. There was no internet, so I had to go to the library every week and fundamentally work out children's atlases to set the questions. And I asked a question one week, and it was, where on the body would you find the clavicle, which is the shoulder. But I wrote it down in haste and said the knee. And one of the pub teams was a team of ambulance drivers who virtually had me up against the wall, shaking me, telling me I was an idiot. But then 3 months later, it was a Christmas quiz, so you got outside teams coming to the pub. And it was brilliant, because in the quiz you go, according to the Vegas Medical Dictionary, where on the body would you find the clavicle? And it was just beautiful watching the locals go, it's the knee!
Josh, this is going to make you feel good. The elves tell me that Baring Gould, your relative, did write Onward Christian Soldiers.
Oh, Onward Christian Soldiers.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a better song.
Yeah.
It's a bigger hit, isn't it?
Do you feel better now?
I genuinely feel on cloud 9.
I did a quiz once on Radio 2, and it was Ed Stupot. And he said, can you name 3 people from the world of entertainment who came originally from Denmark? And I went, yeah, got this. So Victor Borge, I came up with, Hans Christian Andersen, and then I couldn't think of a third one. It was me.
In a month of madness, we did the celebrity version of, you know, Family Fortunes. Worst mistake we ever made.
Why?
Name something you'd bite and not swallow. And my dad buzzed in and said, a towel.
I'm never going to look at a towel in the same way again.
No, well, you know when you instantly look at your dad and just mouth quietly, who hurt you?
Well, the pub quiz is notorious for igniting furious rows about tiny quibbles, so we asked our Twitter followers to send us examples of petty quarrels at pub quizzes. So here are a few that they sent us. What is the act of eating outside called? Anybody?
Picnic.
Al fresco.
Both the same thing. Lots of teams answered al fresco. The quizmaster said a picnic, and there was uproar for at least 10 minutes. This is from Scott Doherty, who sent us this in. Here's another one. This is from Barker and Jones. What is the connection between the word murder and the horse Red Rum?
Red Rum is murder backwards.
Absolutely. The answer that Quizmaster had is murder is Red Rum backwards. Their answer that they gave is that the two are anagrams of each other, which is also correct, but
yes.
Quizmaster refused to accept the... I know.
That is annoying.
Yeah, OK. Let's try this one. Who can spell Fahrenheit? No. Go.
Not me.
No.
I'll try.
Go on, then.
Fahrenheit.
So, a gentleman called Sea Spaniel once had an argument about how it's spelt. He is here with us in the audience. There he is, right there. Now, how did you settle how it was actually spelt?
I contacted Leiden University and asked them to get hold of an original copy of Fahrenheit's signature.
Do you think it's possible, darling, you were taking it a little bit too seriously?
I believe so, and I've calmed down now and I'm on medication.
Did they write back and tell you?
Yes, they did.
How did you contact them?
Well, it was using email, but it was pre-Google.
So how did you spell it in email?
You know the guy who wasn't Celsius? That's... Why do you call yourself Sea Spaniel, Danny?
It's an anagram of my name.
Is it an anagram or just your name backwards?
Could be both.
OK. Well, thank you very much for coming in. That's fantastic. Right, origin of the word quiz, anybody know?
Oh, we've had this one.
You have had this one before.
Someone said, I'll make up a word and everyone will be saying it.
Yeah, that's the bit that we definitely proved wasn't true. That bit was... The truth is, we don't know. In the late 18th century, it meant an odd or eccentric person. But there was also a thing called a quizzing glass, which is a marvellous thing. It's a magnifying glass, and it used to be worn on a chain around the neck, and you held it up to look closely at things. But in the mid-18th century, quizzing was mocking somebody by examining them closely with a quizzing glass, became quite the thing. So you all have one.
You mock them by looking at them?
Yeah, so it was used as a sort of... Oh, is that what you're wearing? Oh. So the king of dealing with a quizzing glass was a man called Beau Brummel in the 18th century. It was said he could destroy a person's social standing altogether by just using his quizzing glass like this. I mean, he was an amazing guy. In his heyday, it took him 5 hours to get dressed. Very like yourself, Johnny. It's very similar.
5 hours?
I think it's so rude of someone who takes that long to get dressed to then insult other people with his little glass. I don't like him.
You don't like him? He polished his boots in champagne. He's said to have had 3 different hairdressers for different parts of his head. So a bit for the front, bit for the back, bit for the sides. He is said to have...
Between them, they've really fucked it up.
He was quite a piece of work. He once caught a chill and he blamed his valet for forcing him to enter a room containing a damp stranger. Now, 'tis the season to be jolly, and tonight we have some jolly, silly questions. In fact, we have trawled the QI archives for the silliest questions we've been asked over the years. This one is from 2006, and it's from a Mr. Alan Davis. Alan, this is the question that you asked in 2006. Perhaps you would read it out.
If you went up into space with a mouse and an elephant, would they both become weightless at the same time?
Right, so there is you in 2006 asking this question.
I forgot that you were in the Wonder stuff.
So what do you reckon reckon you've had 12 years to think about it. If you went into space with a mouse and an elephant, would they both become weightless at the same time?
I would say that, yes, they would, because gravity disappears from both of them at the same moment, right?
Yeah, if there's no gravity, you weigh nothing, so it doesn't matter how big or small you are.
Yeah, but the elephant would be so afraid of the mouse, maybe he jumps.
Elephants can't jump, did you know that?
Don't mess with his
It's
science.
one of the reasons why they're afraid of mice.
Because they can't...
Alan, if only the elephant had the foresight to stitch a tiny hat for the mouse and learn to fly.
Ah, well, we will come on to flying elephants in just one moment.
I'm so glad, because I know nothing, but I watch a lot of Disney films.
Well, then, this is the show for you. Here's another science question. If you are in a place with no gravity and somebody hurls a weightless mouse at you and an equally weightless elephant, would they both feel the same when they hit you?
No.
OK, why not?
Because...
They're both weightless.
I reckon if you had two items that are weightless and one is smaller than me...
Yeah.
...then that would deflect off me more in the same way that I would deflect off an elephant because I'm smaller than an elephant. Does that make sense?
No, not really.
It's going to be controlled by their mass.
It is about mass, it's about momentum.
Yeah.
If you've got a big ship on the water and you push it...
Yeah.
...and you've got a little paper boat and you push it, and there are two people in dinghies...
Yeah.
The person in the dinghy's got the paper boat coming towards them...
Yeah.
...is indifferent.
Yeah.
The person in the dinghy with the big ship coming towards them...
is quite bothered.
...would be rightly afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the same principle applies in space with elephants.
I love this show. I go home and I don't sleep for weeks afterwards.
How many species of elephant are there today?
2. 3.
There are 3. There is the Asian elephant.
Got it back. Grabbed it straight back.
There's the Asian elephant.
It's harder than it looks. Nice
It's
job.
got the bloody answer on it. Oh, yeah. Come here, sweetie. Thank you.
Call them trainers.
There's one Asian kind and there are 2 African. There's the African forest and the African savannah.
And there's the space elephants.
Yeah, the space elephant. Well, we're going to come on to the one with the little hat. What was called?
Dumbo.
Dumbo, OK. What would happen to Dumbo's ears when he came into land?
Oh, pop.
Ah, no. So,
Can't believe it.
straight in there.
Too easy. We're too easy, Josh. We've got to keep moving. They're catching us every time.
So, no. Do we know why human ears pop?
Oh, it's air pressure in the sinuses and the various head cavities.
No, it's Rice Krispies when you're younger.
Stop putting them up your nose, you fool!
You have air in your ear canal, so when the outside pressure changes, there's an imbalance. And we equalise this thanks to the eustachian tube, so it's able to release air down into the throat, and that is that sort of feeling when it equalises that you hear a pop. Elephants, all the different chambers in an elephant's skull are connected with these broad, open channels, and that means there should never be any difference in pressure. So I think Dumbo would certainly not have to hold his trunk and blow.
But does that mean if they go underwater, they just fill up with water?
A silly question for next Christmas.
Someone just write that down.
Yeah.
Did he just say that?
Did he just say that? Write that down.
We'll bring that up in 14 years.
Yeah. OK, here's a good Dumbo question. How big would Dumbo's ears have to be to enable him to fly?
Oh, good question.
Very good
I'd say 30
question.
metres either side.
OK, so we have actually done the maths.
I would say they'd have to be longer at the back.
Why?
If you look at an aeroplane,
Yes.
the wings are in the middle and
Yeah.
these are at the front.
Yeah. So they'd need to...
So it's not how wide they have to be, it's the depth.
Yeah. I don't know why you didn't go into something technical for a living.
Come round and I will show you my big book of rejection letters. Honest to God, the one off NASA is just...
Yeah, you're not allowed to come up and you're not allowed to bring your elephant either.
So the width...
Yeah, so...
I think
OK. So here's the thing, if they were rigid, they would have to be a 20-foot ear span, is what we've worked out. But if they were floppy like a hang glider, this is Dumbo, they would have to measure, and we've done this to scale, OK, they would have to measure 60 foot from tip to tip in order for this to work.
Sandy,
yeah.
I don't want you to embarrass yourself, but it won't work. There's no tiny mouse sat on it.
You have to imagine I'm the tiny mouse, I think, is the way to do it. And so if you take that, darling, so that's how big, if Dumbo were real, the ears would have to be that big.
I'll be honest, if they were that big, the mother would reject him.
Yeah.
No, it's Christmas!
And it's been the silly Billy! Honest to God, I've never, ever presented this show looking at an elephant's arse. It's the weirdest thing. Right, time for a sing-song. Christmas is often a time when you're given the gift of a book, and I was given one called Should I Stay or Should I Go? By James Ball, which poses some interesting questions raised in songs. Hopefully we can sort a few of them out. Have a listen to this.
How much is that dog in the window?
OK, so, how much would a puppy under 6 months old actually cost from a pet shop in the UK?
400.
Oh, sorry. Oh, no, sorry. No,
I said 450!
You can't get them from pet shops.
That is the correct answer. You cannot get them from pet shops since 2019.
Speaking to a dog rescuer.
You can only get them now from breeders or authorised rehoming centres. The rules changed in 2019.
It has to be a licensed breeder, and you must ask to see the mother.
Yes, you must see the mother.
Anyone's mother. Would you like to go out with me? I want to see your mother.
Let's have another question from a song.
Why do birds suddenly appear?
Is it a feeding thing?
It is to do with feeding, darling. Birds are able to distinguish rather subtle changes in air pressure. And they may know that a storm is coming and they want to feed as quickly as possible before the weather changes.
That's what it is.
So it's to do with that.
My dad lives in Australia and he had grapes outside of his house in Adelaide and all of these birds, it was like they just had chatted to each other. They just turned up all at once and ate everything in 2 minutes and went away.
Wow. Why is it that we never see baby pigeons? What do you think the reason is?
They're invisible till they're 6 months old.
They mature quicker than most species, and they tend to stay in the nest until they're fully fledged.
Yeah.
And the fact is, honestly, we don't really see baby birds of any kind, really. We'll see ducks and so on, but mostly we don't see baby birds anywhere. The way you can tell a baby pigeon, occasionally you see them in the street, and the adults have red-orange eyes. You can see the adult there, and the babies still have dark eyes, so that is one of the ways in which you could tell them.
They love it. They're pretty, the babies, aren't they?
Yeah, you'd have to be a mother to love that, wouldn't you?
My dad used to race pigeons when I was a kid.
Did he win?
We're in the presence of professional comedians.
Alan gave me 20 quid to do that setup.
Let's have another song question.
How many roads must a man walk down?
OK, so my question is, how much road should a boy walk down before he becomes a man?
Oh, in terms of ageing?
Well, let's try and just work out how many miles. Between your 5th and your 18th birthday, so that it makes you a man. How many roads?
8,000 roads.
8,000 roads?
I'm going to say 25,000 roads.
I'm going to go 100 miles a year, and it's 13 years, 1,300 miles.
OK, it is...
It's not enough, it's not
No,
enough.
it's going to make a very, very fat person.
You're telling me that I'm a beast because I've walked on the pavement instead of the road?
No. So, they reckon on average a boy ought to walk 15,000 steps per day. That's 35,500 miles between their 5th and their 18th birthday. So there are just under 250,000 miles of road in the UK. So the answer to Bob Dylan's question for the British ban is you should aim to walk down 1/7 of all British roads by the time you are 18.
That was a really long afternoon in the office.
Yeah. So my question as a woman is, how many roads must a man walk down before he admits he's lost? The audience says all of them. Only 6% of men surveyed said they would ask for directions or consult a map after realising they're lost. The average man drives an extra 900 miles while lost during their lifetime. So if you think Land's End to John O'Groats is 874 miles, that's how much extra time men will drive.
Now it's a new thing where men think they know better than the sat-nav.
Well...
Always.
Oh, no.
Oh, don't listen to that shit. Don't listen to that.
Now, here's another extremely silly question submitted in 2011 by, Mr. Alan Davis. So, there you go, darling. If you could just read the question out. Thank you so much.
What is the aquatic equivalent of a sheepdog?
Any ideas?
Well, the closest has got to be a dolphin.
You're right. From about 1840 to 1930, off the coast of Eden in New South Wales, there was a pod of orcas, a type of dolphin, and they were recorded herding whales towards fishermen, and they were rewarded with the tongues and lips of the whale. It became known as the law of the tongue. The indigenous people, the Yuin people, are thought to have cooperated with orcas for, we don't know, perhaps thousands of years. But it came to an end with the death of the lead orca, who was known as Old Tom, 1938. But Laguna in southern Brazil, there's a group of bottlenose dolphins, and they have been collaborating with local fishermen to herd fish since at least 1847. So they drive shoals of mullet towards the fishermen in shallow water, and then they indicate the sort of specialised head and tail movements where the humans should throw the nets, and then they share the catch. And there's about 200 fishermen who are entirely dependent on the dolphins, and they never fish without them. And it seems to be a single group of dolphins. About 20 of them.
Yeah.
And it rather suggests it's been handed down, as it were, in the family, exactly as it has for the fishermen. And there's also dogs that herd fish. They're called Portuguese water dogs, and they've been used for this purpose for absolutely centuries. The Portuguese call them Portuguese fishing dogs.
That's a good photo, isn't it?
Isn't it beautiful?
Look at that.
The dog looks so happy.
What's the shutter speed there, Sandy?
It's unbelievably fast.
You run at me and I'll get you when you're running.
When I go to get my hair cut, I take a photo of him in, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, that would suit you, darling. That's
You
very
think?
nice.
Yeah.
Then you could get a little brown beard like he's got as well.
It turns out that there actually are aquatic sheepdogs after all, sort of, anyway. Not as silly as you thought. Now, here is another. It's Christmas, time for Her Majesty's speech, but what did people sing before there was a national anthem?
Onward Christian Soldiers.
Anybody know? God Save the King, when does that come from?
I imagine it's Victorian.
I don't think that God Save the King started in Victorian times. Because
No.
That...
No. That's a very good point.
Wouldn't it be Rule Britannia?
Well, they're performed publicly in the same year. So God Save the King it was, first publicly performed in 1745. It was the band at the Theatre Royal Drury Lane, and it was played nightly. It was a sort of defiant response to the Jacobite victory at the Battle of Preston Pan. But there is a third patriotic song which is much older, used to be more popular than either of those things. It was called Britain's Strike Home. It was written by Henry Purcell in 1695 for a production of a play about... I don't know what we say anymore. Did we say Boudicca?
Yeah, Boudicca.
Boudicca is the way forward.
We still say Boadicea in Essex, where she lived.
You've got it right. It was sung by a druid to whip up resistance against the Romans, and it used to be hugely popular, this song. The entire House of Commons sang it spontaneously in 1797 when war was declared by Pitt. It was played on board ship during the Battle of Trafalgar. The last recorded instance of it being played as a sort of patriotic rallying cry is December 1914. But it's since fallen out of public consciousness, so we've got a quick version performed by the Academy of Ancient Music. Have a listen to this.
Britain's strike home, defend, our country's wrongs. Fight, fight and record, fight, fight and record.
like it? You come from a composing family.
In terms of kind of patriotic songs,
yeah,
I prefer Three Lions.
I suspect it was written in the kebab house. 3 in the morning. Fight!
Fight! OK, so we are all going to sing. Here we go. Take home, revenge your country's wrongs. Fight and record. Fight and record yourselves in Druid songs. That was really shit.
It felt like dinner at Nigel Farage's house.
There you have it, the original national anthem, a song about druids fighting Romans. Now for a Q question. Has anybody here ever had the quabbles? And don't spare me the details.
Indigestion, diarrhoea.
I've had, like, collywobbles.
Collywobbles, yes, that is to do with your digestive area, isn't it?
No.
No?
That's when you're just, like, a bit unsettled.
OK.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I went out in the garden, I think an owl's watching me, I've got the collywobbles. Like, I feel his eyes on me, like, it's not hooting.
Yeah,
but I think it's there.
He's looking at me, but his body's facing the wrong way, but his head's coming right round.
What might it do to you if it's watching you?
It might think I'm a shrew or something, I don't know. What's going through its head?
OK, so it's not quabbles,
Is it an emotional thing? It is physical?
It's a very old word. It's actually a word from possibly in the Wiltshire dialect. It's the wrinkles that form on your fingers when you are on your toes.
Oh,
yes.
I hate them.
Why do you hate them?
Oh, when you rub them against each other, they kind of... Oh, my God, I hate that.
Now, why do you think we have them? Do you know what the reason is?
Is it for grip?
Yeah, well, we don't know, but it's possible that is one of the suggestions, that it's a sort of evolutionary adaptation because you had to handle objects quite often with wet hands, and it helps drain water away from the fingers so you get a better grip. It's not simply because your skin is saturated, because you would have it all over, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It is very useful for doctors as a diagnostic tool, particularly on an unconscious patient, because you might suspect damage to the autonomic nervous system, like your breathing and your digestion and your heartbeat and so on, if you wet the hand and you can see which bits wrinkle. Elephants have permanently quabbled skin. Anybody know why?
They're always in the bath. When humans appear, they jump out the bath. They're quabbled from head to toe.
Is it a surface area?
It is to do with staying cool.
Yeah.
So they have these tiny interconnected crevices, and the cracks in the skin, it retains 5 to 10 times as much water as it would if it was smooth. It is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Elephant skin is the most glorious feeling to it. It's just soft and exquisite. They have wonderful
Where did you
creatures.
meet an elephant?
It's a part-time job as a mouse.
Yeah. Which brings us to the Quizmazy quagmire of quandaries, which is our Quizmaz general ignorance. Fingers on buzzers, please. How many months of the year does it snow in Britain? Yep.
All of them.
Is the correct answer.
Whoa!
All rain in the UK begins as snow. Is the actual answer, albeit unbelievably
Good
high up.
noise, good interested noise. Oh, going to tell that one to people at home in the morning.
Very high up in the atmosphere. Unless it's a very cold day, the snow melts as soon as it hits the warm air, and it falls to the ground as rain.
Do you know what, Sandy? I love a party with a happy atmosphere.
Yeah. Why can't you have a party on the moon?
I don't know. Why can't you have a party on the moon?
No atmosphere. Most British rain is caused by something called the Bergeron-Findeisen process. So the tops of the clouds are made of a mix of ice crystals and supercooled water droplets. So that's water which is below freezing point but has not frozen. And the liquid water clumps around the ice crystals and forms snowflakes.
It's below freezing point, but it hasn't frozen.
It hasn't actually frozen. I know. It is perfectly possible. And they
should be stoned.
They
when we get
form...
information like that.
They form snowflakes which grow until they're heavy enough to fall out of the cloud. So in Britain and other temperate climates, nearly all of the rain which we get starts as snow.
That's amazing.
So you start as snow and you're drifting a bit, drifting, and then you think, oh, I'm turning.
I'm turning, I'm turning.
In the rain. Woo, woohoo!
And so you're
That's exactly what it's like, just like that. Why is ice slippery?
Oh, good question.
It's the watery bit on top of the ice.
Oh, yeah.
Does that sound right?
Well, I think you should probably ask Sandy rather than me.
When your foot goes down, it melts the top bit of the ice.
Don't ever look at me again when you're answering a question. We're not in this together.
It's an old theory that it used to melt when you stepped on it, or that by stepping on the ice somehow...
She's just really yanked him hard.
Yeah,
She's got a lot of life insurance.
There was a theory that if you stepped on the ice, the pressure you exerted melted the top layer, and this water is then what you slid on.
You'd have to be stupid to think that.
But the pressure would need to be extreme. We've been talking about elephants. If you put an elephant in high heels, you still could not exert enough pressure to make that happen.
I think you'd be locked up.
I'd like to see an elephant in high heels, eh?
Yeah, but would you put it in two pairs of high heels or just two? Like, do you want to make it sexy or is it an experiment?
There's a team from the University of Amsterdam who may have solved the problem, and I think it's a matter of loose molecules. So ice has a very regular crystal structure. So I am going to just... you're going to get this, Johnny, and you're going to enjoy it. A little bit of science, OK? So the ice that's down at the bottom is each bit... Here's a molecule of ice,
yeah.
OK? And it is attached... Can you see that? To three. It's got three different things that it's attached to.
When you say ice, what you're looking at there are mice.
The stuff that's down below the surface has got three things that it is attached to. The stuff that is up here...
Mickey?
Is Mickey up here, on the surface, is only attached to two.
Yep.
And what that means is they kind of move around. They don't really stick together. They detach themselves and reattach themselves in various ways. And so it is literally like marbles on a dance floor. And it would be slippery even if you weren't on it.
Madam, you claimed it would all become clear.
OK, now you explain it, Johnny.
When you put your foot on it, it melts a bit.
That's exactly...
Alan, I'm back in your camp.
Yeah, I feel my work here is done. Name an animal that you should leave a carrot out for.
Is it a reindeer?
Oh, no.
Is it a spooky garden owl?
It is a spooky garden owl. No.
It's not a rabbit, is it a hedgehog?
Did you say rabbit?
Hedgehog.
Hedgehog, no.
Should he have said rabbit?
Is it rabbit?
So, bad news for children who leave carrots out for Rudolph. Reindeers find it hard to eat carrots. They don't have incisor teeth on the upper jaw, so they never evolved to eat them because it's not a foodstuff they would find in the wild at all.
Have you heard about the carrot swindle? Do you know about the carrot swindle?
I know about the carrot swindle.
When you go to your self-serve checkout, everything you put on for whey, you just press carrots.
Really?
Yeah.
What, so you'd be like buying an anvil and you'd press carrot?
Yeah, so you put down, what's an expensive vegetable?
Prosecco.
So are you putting everything through as carrots?
I'm not doing it, Josh. I'm a very honest customer.
Where did you learn this?
From a reindeer.
No, it's because what they found,
Yeah.
the supermarkets, the reason they started to become suspicious was because they were selling millions of tons of carrot and that thousands and thousands of bottles of Prosecco were being stolen. Wow. So they started to watch people, and sure enough, people just putting all their washing on the thing, pressing carrots and putting it in...
All their washing?
People were putting all their shopping on the thing, pressing carrots, and they've got 6 bags, they paid 12 quid.
Theft from self-service tills has doubled in the last 4 years, so you should not put this information out.
I'm doing it for Sainsbury's.
Yeah. Yes.
But Alan, when you put your washing on, what should you press?
Why should we not give carrots to rabbits? What's the reason for that?
Oh.
It's just not good for them.
Yeah.
Greens are the best thing.
You're absolutely right. Wild rabbits don't eat root vegetables in any way, or fruit at all. Too much sugar, not good for you, causes tooth decay. Best diet for pet rabbits is hay, supplemented with some dark vegetables, but certainly not carrots. Let me show you the world's biggest rabbit. This is Darius, owned by Annette Edward. There it is. Yeah.
He is not happy about being picked up there, is he?
Bill Bailey's got 2 of those, and he told me that his was the biggest rabbit in the world.
Well, apparently this one measures 4 foot 4 inches from nose to tail. Costs her over £2,000 a year in food bills.
We're going to have a rabbit off with Bill and that one.
4 foot 4. That is brilliant.
It's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, that's nearly as tall as me. Mind you, a lot of things.
I know, but you just want that to be in a garden when a cat comes over trying to bully it.
The unrealistic thing about the Father Christmas story is that reindeer don't actually eat carrots. Now, I think it's time for a cup of cheer. Who would like a glass of wine?
Oh, yes, please.
Well, if you insist.
What a way to fall off the wagon this is going to be.
It really does feel like Christmas at my house because the glasses are plastic.
Very expensive. Very expensive glasses, then.
Madam, call that crystal.
Oh, that was a good day at Poundland, wasn't it, when you got there?
So, I know you like to know a little bit about wine, don't you, Josh?
Love.
Yeah, OK.
Wine.
So, how far in advance should you open the wine for your Christmas dinner to make sure it is properly aerated?
October.
I would say 15 minutes.
It's intolerable to open a bottle of wine and wait for more than 15 seconds.
I can't wait for the Ferrero Rocher round.
Are we allowed to drink this?
Yes, darling, if your mother says it's OK. Onwards, Christian soldiers, everybody.
Red wine, red wine.
The best way, if you are going to aerate red
What my
wine...
sofa smells like.
is not to decant it at all, or indeed aerate
What, drink it straight from the bottle?
You honestly might as well, is the truth of it. But if you really and truly wanted to aerate it, what you need to do is to put it in a blender, or do what I've done here, which is I've poured out a bit of the wine, put the cork back in and give it a jolly good shake. But just leaving it open for an hour or putting it in a decanter or something is actually pointless, frankly.
I like the idea of using your NutriBullet the next morning. It's like, taste of
Well.
wine.
Lovely. But lots of people believe that aerating good wine makes it worse. There was a guy called Émile Peynoux. He's often thought of as the sort of forefather of enology, so the guy who knows about the study of wine, and said it should be avoided at all costs, so don't bother with it at all.
Don't even pull over.
Don't ruin that at all. Now, with all the drinking we'll be doing this Christmas, we're all going to have stacks of glasses and cups. So who fancies a Christmas cup stacking contest?
Oh,
Shall
yes,
we do this?
please.
Please.
OK, so take out your stack of cups.
Yep.
And what you need to do is you need 3 cups here, and 3 cups here, and 6 cups in the middle, OK?
Have I got a child lock on my cups?
Have you done it?
Yeah.
OK, well done. So it's a proper sport. It's recognised by the American Amateur Athletics Union Junior Olympics. So here's what you have to do. You have to take the stack on the left and make 3, like this. Then you have to take the 6 in the middle and make them into a stack as well, like this. And then you have to make the stack of 3. So this is the shape that you should end up with. And once you've done that, in order to do it as a proper sport stacking contest, you then have to return it to how it was, but you have to start the same way and back like this, OK?
Yep.
So, are we going to have a competition?
Yep.
Oh,
See
my
who can
God.
do this fastest?
Yep.
All right.
This is so exciting.
So, start on the... Josh, darling, start on the left. Yeah, OK, very good. A stack of 3, a stack of 6, a stack of 3.
OK.
Ready, steady, go. 3 and a 6. Just gonna be first, and then take them down again from the left to the right.
Come out, it won't come out. Right.
Josh! OK, I think we should challenge you to see if there's somebody in the audience. I'm going to pick... Anybody want to have a go? Anybody want to go? OK, the guy just put his hand up here. Come and have a go, my darling. Let's challenge you against Josh. Let's... what's your name?
Lee.
Lee, this is Josh.
I've got
Josh,
bad
this is
news
Lee.
for you, Lee. You're about to get your arse handed to you.
OK. Both put your hands on the board before you start. OK, are you ready?
Not really.
Go.
Whoa, what's going on, Lee?
You were not quite out the gate there.
I'm not going to lie
Josh.
to you. I dropped my first cup. Otherwise, I thought we were pretty well matched. Best of 3?
OK, put your hands on the mat, so no cheating.
Do you think that's going to make a difference?
I do. Ready? Go. You should be ashamed, Josh.
I've ruined Christmas.
You should be ashamed of yourself, cheating at Christmas.
Onward, Christmas!
Right, boys, hands on the mat. I'm going to give you best of 3. Are you ready? Go. Ladies and gentlemen, British champion stacker, Lee Norton. Second, and a happy Christmas to Alan, who comes first but once a year. Now, what we're going to do... we are all going to sing Merry Quizmas and a Happy Q Year. Here we go! 2, 3. We wish you a Merry